What's up, YouTubers? I want to talk about today this concept of heaven. You can find a concept of heaven or a paradise, earth-like, and just about all beliefs, all religions. You're going to find this. And it's not a coincidence. One religion just basically built off the original religion, and there's no such thing as the original Christianity or the original Judaism, because it's all the same. It's all been basically built off that one religion from the origin of all religions. But I'm not going to get into that. The reason why you find this concept of heaven in all, basically just about all religions, or paradise like earth, but just about all religions, is because mankind has always been fascinated with the concept of when you die, what happens next. Plus, we want to think that something else comes out. See, we as a species has become so terrified with the concept that when you die, that's it, you're dead, that we attempt to create an alternative to that. And we say, well, if you do good deeds, then you can go to heaven, or you can be reincarnated into a better life. And so basically, still you have this whole concept of resurrection, somewhere in there, where you're going to have another life in another world or another body, or basically saying that death is a beginning and not an end. But in all actuality, when you die, you die. And that's the end of it. But people seem to think that there is a heaven that you go to. Last year, about last Christmas, I was asked, well, since I don't believe in God, where did my mother go to? My mother passed. My mother died when I was 13 years old. I still catch myself saying passed, but people basically use those terms, passed away, as if they went to another life, but they didn't. My mother died when I was 13 years old, and that's it. She died. That's the end of the story. But basically, my family believes that she went on, like most people would believe, that she went on to heaven. Well, heaven does not exist. We created heaven because we want to believe that when someone dies, that they are going to go to this beautiful paradise so that we can see them again. That's what heaven was really created. The concept of heaven was really created for, so that we could see our parents, our friends, our family again. But heaven does not exist. God does not exist. There is no afterlife. You're just dead. It's over. So you better live this life to the fullest. That being said, I want to start talking about some of the dangers of teaching this heaven concept, because it can get to be extremely dangerous to a lot of people. First thing I want to start talking about is that some people are going to be emotionally more vulnerable than others to this concept of heaven. That being said, that means that you're going to have a lot of people are going to just take this to the extreme. Last night I was watching Dragonfly. And basically it is with Kevin Costner, and he's playing in this film, and his wife died. She was in Argentina, I believe, and she died there. It was a bus accident, went in the river, and the wife died. Everybody died. But they never found the wife's body. And so this by itself didn't give him the closure that he needed. Then all of a sudden these little boys, you know, kids from the hospital and whatnot, who had near-death experiences will wake up and say, your wife spoke to me, she wants you to go to Argentina, she wants you to go to the Rainbow, and wound up at the end that his wife was trying to contact him because because she had a child, and the child was in the forbidden village, the village that he wasn't supposed to go to. That's where the child was, and he needed to get to this village and get this child. But movies like this, ghost stories, all this stuff, only reiterate the fact that we want to believe that there's something beyond death so that we can go and meet up with them. That's all it is. And I like this movie though, because it showed that a lot of people can become very vulnerable to this. In this movie, Kevin Costner played an atheist, but he still became very vulnerable to this. The mind can play some powerful tricks on someone. And if you're going around teaching someone that God is out there and there's a heaven and what's not, and then someone mind can start playing tricks on them because they want to believe that their wife is someone else, or their spouse, or their friend, or their family member, or whatever the deceased person is to them. They want to believe that they're going to a better place. And so anything can start setting things off, like the scent can start setting things off, or anything can do this. Perfect example, after my mother passed, for the first few weeks, you could still smell her scent in the house. And I would, that was normal, but I would think that my mother was coming back from the dead, essentially, to comfort us and to let us know that there's an afterlife, and that we needed to work hard to get there so that we can see her again. Now, of course, all that is bullshit, but that just shows you that any little thing can set this irrational thinking out. So to teach someone the concept of heaven, you have to understand it can be very, very, very dangerous. This guy went ballistic on this movie. Actually, there was a dead guy laying there, brain dead, and he thought he seen brain activity. So, you know, it just comes to show you that people can go ballistic. But getting out of the movie realm and coming back in the real world, there are people in the psychiatric world, a lot of people who claim that their dead spouse or their dead brother or sister or mother or father has come back from the dead and comes back from the dead often to see them and to talk with them and to comfort them. They're in the mental institution for it. Concept of heaven teaching us to someone can be very dangerous to their mental health, and we should be very careful with how we spread this myth. Peace.